Good day everyone, you are welcome once back again to my YouTube channel. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel if you are yet to do so that you'll be getting notifications whenever new video is uploaded. Yes, what are we going to be doing today? Today we'll be talking about basic bodice pattern. Basic bodice pattern. They are called basic bodice pattern because they are our primary pattern. Another name for basic bodice pattern is primary pattern. They are called basic or primary pattern because from the pattern you can recreate another design. Yes, you can make a secondary design. Yes, that is the reason why it is called primary or basic bodice pattern. And we have 5 types of them. There are 5. We have upper bodies, we have lower bodies, and we have our sleeve basic pattern. For the upper bodies, because you may be wondering that I said we have 5, but I only mentioned 2. Yes, there are 5. For the upper bodies, we have the front and the back. For the lower bodies, we have the front and the back. So the front and the back, that is 2. For the upper bodies, the front and the back. For the lower bodies, that is 2. Then together with the sleeve, that is 5. So there are 5 basic bodies pattern. But today we'll be focusing on the front upper bodies. The upper bodies, the front part. That is what we'll be doing today. So before we proceed, the first thing that we're going to do is to take our measurements. If you don't know how to take accurate body measurements, kindly go back to my previous video where I've taught in detail how we can take accurate body measurements. So the measurements we are going to be using for today is bust 40, waist 33, half length 16. Our half length is shoulder to waist. From the shoulder line to the waist is our half length. Then the shoulder is 16 and the armhole circumference is equal to 15. Now we are going to start. When we're going to start our pattern drafting, the first thing that we need to do is that we measure from the shoulder to the waist. From the shoulder to the waist, that is our half length. If you don't know how to do this, take your tape rule, put it at your shoulder line, then measure to your navel and go back by 2 inches. That is your half length measurement. Yes. So now we've gotten our half length measurement, which is 16 inches. Now from the waist to that 16, measure from the shoulder line, put your tape rule at the shoulder line, then measure up to 16 inches. So that is our waistline. So from there, we rule a line. The line will be where you will input your waist circumference. Do you get it now? Yes. So the other thing that we're going to do is that we're going to measure from our shoulder to nipple point. That is where we are going to input our bust measurement. Shoulder to the nipple point. Put your tape rule at the shoulder line to your bust apex. That is where whatever measurement that you get, you mark it, shoulder line to your bust point. This one is 10 inches. So you will rule the line. That is where you're going to put your bust measurement. I hope you are following. So another thing that we're going to do now is that we want to measure our shoulder. The shoulder will be divided into 2. Our shoulder is 16. If you want to measure your shoulder, some people call it back to back. So from your shoulder tip, one shoulder tip to another is your shoulder, or back to back. So whatever it is that you get, we are going to divide it by 2. My own measurement is 16 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 8. So on your shoulder line, so mark that 8 inches. Mark that 8 inches. So that is where I've marked. So now the next thing is that we want to create our armhole line. So you measure from here. We want to create our armhole line and we want to get a straight line. So move down a little bit and measure that 8 inches that you measure at the shoulder line. so that we'll be able to get a straight line. Move down and mark 8 inches like this. Move down again and mark 8 inches like this. So with that, you'll be able to get a straight line. Use your straight ruler and draw a straight line. That is our armhole line. And remember, how do we get the armhole line? I've told you that you measure your armhole circumference. Raise up your armhole like this and measure it round. Don't allow it to be too tight. If it is too tight, the cloth will not be comfortable on you. So after you have measured your armhole circumference, whatever it is that you get, write it down and divide it by 2. So when we are drawing our line, it is this armhole circumference that will guide us on where to stop. You know, I can't just continue to be drawing to be ruling the armhole line down. So I must have a stop. So where will I stop? Where I will stop is where the armhole circumference, the measurements that we get from armhole circumference. So our armhole circumference for this training is 15 inches. So that's 15 inches. We divide it into two equal parts. That will give us 7.5. So that is what I have marked, the 7.5. So that is where our armhole line will stop. It will stop at 7.5. Then you will extend this line, because this line we are going to do something on that line. Extend the line, so to make a square shape. Extend the line to make a square shape. Now the next thing that we're going to do is that we want to input our horizontal measurement. On the bust line, whatever it is that you get for your bust circumference, divide it by 4. My whole measurement is 40. 40 divided by 4 will give me, it will give us 10. So you mark the 10 inches. Then you will now go up at the armhole line where we have squared like this, where we have extended. Measure 10 inches as well. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to input our waist measurement. Measure your waist round. Whatever it is that you get for your waist circumference, divide it by 4. My whole measurement is 33 divided by 4. That will give us 8 1/4. Yes, 8 1/4. So now, whatever it is that we get for the waist circumference, we input it. Sorry, my waist circumference is 34 divided by 4. That is 8.5. 8.5. So we now connect it to your bust line and the armhole line. So that's all we are done with that. So the next thing is that we want to make our armhole curve. At the middle here, you divide your armhole line into 2. 7.5. That will be 3.75. From here, you come in by ½ inch. You come in by ½ inch. Then you make a curve. You use your curve ruler, armhole ruler, to make a curve. Make a curve. Then from here you come out by 1 inch. You come out from this angle by 1 inch. So that is where when you come out by 1 inch. So now you now make a curve line like this. So let me use the ruler to draw it properly. So you can see it. These are armhole curve. We are done with that. Now our neckline. So it depends on how wide and how deep you want your neckline to be. So for my own, I want an average neckline. So what will be a guideline for you? If you want an average
neckline width that is not too wide, that is not too deep. This is what we are going to do. For the wideness, you use half of your shoulder because I want an average neckline. So for the width, I'm going to use half of my shoulder. My shoulder is 8 inches, so half of it will be 4. So you mark that 4. Then about the depth, you know what will be the guideline for you is the upper chest measurement. Upper chest measurement, where you want your depth to be. If you want it to reach the upper chest, fine. But if you don't want it to get near that area, you will go up. So my own, I don't want it to get near that upper chest measurement at all. My upper chest is 7 inches. So I don't want it to be near that 7 inches at all. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to use 5 for the depth. So it depends on what you want. You can make it deeper than that. You can make it less deeper than that. You can use 4, you can use 4 and a half, you can use 5. So it depends on what you want. But this one now, it is 5 inches that I use. So here we have made our front upper bodice pattern. Then the next thing is that we are going to slant our shoulder. We'll come down by ½ inch. The reason is that our shoulder is not straight. So because it is not straight, we need to slant our shoulder. So we slant it towards the armhole area. So that's all that we have for today's lesson. And I know that you have gained one thing or the other. So remember, when you want to draft a front bodice pattern, the first thing you are going to do is that from your shoulder, you measure up to the waistline, that is your half length. So from the shoulder, you measure up to the half length. And I've told you that if you don't know how to take measurements, go back to my previous video, you know how to take all those measurements. So after you have gotten your half length, my own is 16. From the shoulder line, I measured 16. Then the next thing is that I measure my shoulder line, which is 8 inches. Then after that, I curate my armhole line. What will serve as a guide for you to know where to stop when curating this line is that you measure your armhole circumference and you divide it into 2. My own is 15 divided by 2 gives me 7 and a half. Now to summarize everything that we have done so far, first thing you are going to do when you want to take your front upper bodice is that you measure from your shoulder line to the waistline, that is your half length. Take your tape rule, put it at the shoulder line, measure up to your navel and come up by 2 inches, that is your half length. So mark that line, rule that line out. It is on that line that you are going to input your waist measurement. Then from the shoulder, take a measurement of your shoulder to your nipple point. Your shoulder to your nipple point, rule it out, mark it and rule it out. That is where you are going to input your bust line. So then after that, we determine our shoulder measurement. My own is 16 divided by 2, that is 8. So after that, we create our armhole line. Armhole line, what will serve as a guide for us is that we measure our armhole circumference, we divide it by 2. My armhole circumference is 15. I divided by it into 2. So that is 7.5. So 7.5 will serve as a guide for me. So when I'm ruling this line from the shoulder line, so I will stop at 7.5. Then I will mark 8 inches. 8 inches, just as I have marked at the shoulder line, so that I'll be able to get a straight line like this. Then when you get to this point, you square it up to extend your line to the other side. Then at this point, you come out by 1 inch. You come out by 1 inch. So when you come out by 1 inch, it is that 1 inch that you'll be able to use to create curve at this angle. Then here you get half of this armhole line, you mark it, you come in by ½ inch, then you mark it so that you create a curve at this armhole area. I hope you got that. Then to get our depth and width for the neck, you measure your whatever it is that you want for the width. And I said for a guide, if you want an average neckline for the width, you use half of your shoulder measurement. My own is 8 inches. Half of my shoulder measurement is 4 inches. So I mark 4. And the depth, I use 5 inches for the depth. So I join the two together. Then I also make my shoulder strands. So after that, you're going to add your joining allowance. The joining allowance are what I mark with a dotted line. Put your joining allowance. And at the waist area, you remember we are going to take a dart. Yes, if it is a fitted dress, it's going to have a dart. So input your dart line. What are you going to use to know where to take your dart? We are going to use your nipple to nipple measurements. Your nipple to nipple measurement will determine where you are going to take your dart. So for me, my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. So at the waist area, I'm going to mark 4 inches. 4 inches. That is where my dart will be. Then I will go up by 5 inches. So I will rule it straight. So that's my dart line. So remember that you're going to put the dart. Then you now put that dart allowance at the side here. Remember we only had 1 inch. So remember to put your dart allowance, because when you take in your dart, your waistline measurements will reduce. So whatever it is that you want to use to take in your dart, my own is ½ inch at each dart leg. So ½ inch at this side, ½ inch at this side, that is 1 inch. So I'm going to add additional 1 inch to this side. So at the bust area, I'm going to mark 1 inch. At the waist area, I'm going to use 2 inches. Then I will connect it together. So it will be like this, 2 inches. Here, 1 inch. So if I want to make my line, my blue line right now, so it will be like this. So I hope you are getting me now. So the reason why we have 2 inches here is that we are going to input our dart. We are going to take in our dart. So when we take in our dart, it will reduce, our waist measurements will reduce. So it is that waist that we take in, whatever it is that we take in, that I've added back to the side. So whatever it is that you want to take in here at the waist area for the dart, remember to add it to the side so that you get accurate measurements. Your waist circumference will not be reduced. So that is how far we can go today on our tutorial on the front upper bodice pattern drafting. So I hope you have learned 1 or 2 things. So if you enjoyed this video, kindly give it a thumb up, and also ensure that you like and subscribe to my video so that you will be getting notification whenever new video is uploaded. Bye, love you all, see you in my next video. Till then, take care, bye.